Welcome back to the Purpose Driven Investor Podcast, the show where we go beyond the deals and dive into people behind them, their mission, their mindset, and the impact they're creating through real estate and entrepreneurship. Today we have a great guest. I'm joined by Kelli, who's the CEO and founding partner of Pick Fund and Rehab Wallet, a hard money lending company that's funded over $550 million in loans and raised more than $250 million in capital since 2020. Kelli brings over 30 years of experience across management, real estate, lending, and has personally built a portfolio of over 3,500 units, both active and passive. She's also a founding partner in multiple lending platforms, including Consistent Capital and Aspire Finance. On top of that, she's a former 4-time All-American basketball player at the College of Charleston, where she still holds the all-time scoring record. So Kelli, excited to have you on. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Robert.
All right, good deal. Well, let's get right into it. Want to talk real quick. Tell us about how did you go from a basketball standout to building a $550 million lending business?
Gosh. Listen, we got to go.
That's a big question.
That's a big question, especially as long as I've been in this business, right? Or in business by myself. Life takes you through journeys and people and relationships, and you end up where you ended up, right? So I think sports is such a good just parlay into business, right? I've always said that now business is now my scoreboard. It feels very similar. The competition is the same. Trying to be your best version is the same. Building a team and being around teammates and getting other teammates to do what they do well, and then allowing me to do what I do well, and just patting everybody on the back, giving high fives. Going through defeat, going through wins. It's very, very, very similar.
I love that. My boys run long distance track, and we had a track meet last night, and they're freshman and junior, and the freshman didn't do as well as he thought. And we had that same conversation about, hey, this is just the start. This is building you for business, right?
It's so true. That defeat that happened last night is part of going to be who he is and his journey. I think we got to fail to know how to get back up. I think we got to fail to understand ourselves during failure. I think it's so good for these kids to feel that, to know about time management, to know about decision making. I mean, he had to make a lot of decisions in that meet last night. He didn't realize it, but he had to make a decision where he was going to throttle, whether he's going to hold back, when to sprint, when to hold back. A lot of decisions was being made yesterday, and I think that just goes hand in hand with business and entrepreneurship.
100%. I think you put it exactly how I should have put it last night. I tried to explain that, and sometimes you don't want to listen to Dad after failing to do what you wanted to do.
Exactly.
But I'll show him this recording. How about that?
How about that?
All right. So tell me,
that old lady. She don't know what she's talking about either, so that's okay. You'll understand in a few years.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's great. Well, talk specifically kind of when you think about business today, and talk about high five and wins and losses. What are some of the specific things that sports taught you that shows up in your business today?
I think, when you're playing I'll say it, at the level that I played at, right? And a lot of people played at. Whether it's D1, D2, D3 does not matter, but you're playing at the top of your game, maybe not somebody else's game. As College Charleston is a mid-major school. It's not an SEC school. It's not Duke. It's not University of South Carolina women's basketball. But when you're playing at the top of your game, at whatever level that you're playing at, right? I just think it is part of just understanding who you are and the confidence that you have to have in yourself as a leader. Yesterday in a meeting, I had a director make a decision, and while hindsight's 2020, it might not have been the very, very best decision. However, it was her decision, and we're going to roll with it, right? I think that whether it's your son, whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's anybody, it's a decision we make during the game to spin around, to throw up between our legs, to decide if I'm going to pull up a three or I'm going to go take it in and hit a 17-footer. It's just decisions that's running so fast in our mind that I think we can, again, parlay it and take it from sports and move it straight into entrepreneurship. And it just, I can't even explain how easy the transition is if we allow it to do its job, right? To remember, you don't have to be so specific. Wonder what I did at basketball. I'm going to take it over here to entrepreneurship. It's just part of the feeling and the emotion that you take with it. I also believe that talking about emotion is that sometimes in basketball, I would get super emotional. When I find myself, whether it was happy, sad, frustrated, pissed, whatever the words are, I've learned that when I gather myself and not run so emotional, we make better decisions, whether it was on the court or whether it is in the game of business right now.
That's so true, right? Because in the game of sport, it's so easy to get emotional, and you may not realize it, but in business it is, right? And I think
exactly.
A lot of times we don't have the same emotions in business as maybe we did when we were a teenager and in college with sports. But I think part of that is we've been trained not to, right? And trained to control our emotions through our experience in sport. Exactly. That's great. All right, cool. Well, let's talk a bit about the early days. Talk to us about what the early days looked like for you before things really started to click and really started to work.
Yeah, I mean, right after sports, after basketball, I'll tell my age. I graduated in college in '89. Nothing was going on for women's basketball after that. I could have went overseas and played for almost like 14 grand. Made a decision not to go overseas and play, to stay home and to start working. And I was raised on a small farm, so work comes supernatural. Working with my hands came very, very quick to me. So I went straight into blue collar work, and that was UPS. So I stayed at UPS for about 12 years, loaded, drove just like everybody else did, but ended up in management, and it was managing, hundreds and hundreds of employees before I left and after the 12 years. Take basketball, take UPS. UPS is, 100% effective at UPS is not good enough. We wanted to run 125% effective. It kind of matched who I was and how I was raised. Working long hours, high expectations. So, iron sharpens iron, and I just kept getting sharpened, I think. I learned how to manage people, union employees, as a young female. I know there's probably girl dads on this podcast that's listening to this, and I've learned that not just learn, but I want to share that the best thing we can do for our young girls is not to coddle them. My dad never coddled me. He worked me like he worked my brother, like my cousins. He worked my sister like my brother and my cousins. He worked us all the same. And I think that lack of coddleness and, if my brother had a chainsaw in his hand at 12 years old, so did Kelly. If my brother was expecting to get up at 4 a.m, I was expecting to get up at 4 or 5 a.m. Same exact thing. And so the expectations were the same. So as I got older, my expectations are I can do anything. My expectations were when I walk into a boardroom at UPS where there were very, very few women at that time in the 80s and early 90s, I had to feel okay and comfortable in myself to be able to walk in that boardroom with confidence and not be afraid, right? Now I get in real estate, and now I get in the lending world, of which dealing with flippers is predominantly men. I don't see any different at this point. I don't even see, there's only 2 women. Sometimes people will say that to me, Kelly, you're in charge of blah, 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 and of a real estate investment group, and there's only 5 women there. It just happens to be that's the type of company that we're in right now, right? We're in lending to flippers, and the flippers tend to be 95% men, right? So I'm glad of my raising. I'm glad of my early years at UPS. I'm glad of my early years as an entrepreneur, just to be able to gain confidence every single year, every single step I've made, every single thing I messed up, every bad decision just kind of led me to where I am today. Whether it was basketball or whether it was my first job at UPS, I think we're just learning as we go and trying to figure it out. I don't think anybody has the best plan of action. You're just kind of living life and figuring things out as we go.
Right. But it all starts with the belief that your dad gave you, right? Yeah. At the beginning. And I love that, right? Imagine like if he didn't give that to you from day one, what your path would be completely different. And I love your advice.
Completely different with all the, you mentioned all the money, that the cross that I bear every day with Investors Capital, over $200 million we've raised. And that's a cross that me and my partners bear. I don't think that I could do that had I not have the strength and the wiring as a little girl to get where I'm at right now, to be able to carry that and be able to sleep good at night. I think that's a special wiring, and I'm very, very, very thankful that my parents both raised us all to be very independent. And you can do it wasn't like a cheerleader approach. It was like an expectation. It wasn't like, yeah, hon, you can do anything you want to do. It was like, we expect you to do this and we expect you to do that. There wasn't even a question mark in his brain. Could you do it? It's like, I expect you to do it.
Right. That's great. That's great. All right, let's talk about your lending business. Tell me about what was the very first real estate or lending deal that you did, and what did you learn from that? Wow.
So coming from UPS, I told you I stayed 12 years. When I left UPS, we had wonderful insurance back then at UPS. Well, now I'm an entrepreneur. I got to go get my own insurance. Where I'm sitting in an insurance company. Back then, no internet, so you got to go into an insurance company. You remember those days. You got a little gray hair. That you had to go in places and meet people, right? And so mine's just taking a minute to come in. I don't know why, but that's okay. So we had to go into places, and I met a couple sitting there. They too were getting there, waiting to see their insurance agent, and they had a mortgage company. It's a long, drawn-out story, but from that day, I befriended them and ended up working for them for free to learn this mortgage experience, this mortgage business, right? And so the mortgage business kind of, took me to that next step. So I learned from them. Spent about 6 or 8 months working for free just to learn that business. I had made great money at UPS. I had plenty of savings. And then they helped me stand up my own company. And so, my first deal not as a lender, but as an investor, because remember, I'm a lender, but I also have a personal business that invests in real estate. Right. Because what I learned as a lender was that I am lending. I was a broker back then, so I'm lending to investors. They're coming in and I'm looking at saying, hey, they're buying it for 100, selling it for, putting 20 in and selling it for 220. So I'm seeing they're making $60,000, $70,000. Well, it clicked with me. And my dad had also had some mobile homes and some duplexes and so forth. So I had that in me a little bit. And so the first deal I did was this. The first deal I did was a guy comes in my mortgage company late at night. It's 8 o'clock, but I happened to still be in there working. My employees had not locked the door. And this older gentleman comes in with coveralls on and opens, I hear it go ping. And I'm like, hello. And it was an older gentleman. He was just getting off work and he said, I need a loan. And I'm like, was he going to kill me or am I going to talk to him about this? Right. So, I kind of assessed the situation and then thought, come on back to my office. Let's talk. Well, he had a house in Georgetown that he wanted to buy. I pull his credit and it's now 8:30 at night. I'm pulling his credit and it was low. He couldn't buy the house. And I started talking to him and getting so close to him that night that I was like, you just need time to fix your credit. I'll help you. But he's like, I want to buy this home, stay with me, because my wife has Alzheimer's
Oh, wow.
And this is her home place. And I feel like every time we go by that house, she remembers, I want to buy this house and I want to move us in there for this later part of our life so that she can have some memories and then I can have her. It's like almost like the Notebook. So I'm like, I've got to figure out how to purchase this.
You do anything you can.
Anything I could do. So I purchased it and I purchased it back to them.
Wow.
Every month on the way home, because he worked in Mount Pleasant, but was driving to Georgetown back home, he stopped and he made his payment. And he made his payment for about 2 years till we got his credit right. And then he just paid me off, right? And so that was my first real estate investment deal. So it has a little story behind it, but I felt comfortable doing it because at UPS, I had moved 11 times in 12 years for them corporately. So I was used to moving a lot. And, every time I'd move and sell a house, I'd buy a new house and then sell it and I would make money. So, or the company would buy it from me. So I was kind of in the real estate game when I was in corporate America, but at the same time on my investment world, that was my very first deal.
That's great. That's great. It makes me think about, that obviously you did a little sweat equity with the mortgage company so that they could train you and learn, but then they helped you set it up. But, just that moment then led to you helping this gentleman with his wife with Alzheimer's. And then I imagine you have hundreds of stories like that afterwards, right? And the amount of people, just that one interaction impacts down the road, right? And I always like to think about that, hundreds of people. And then you think about the people they could impact because now they have good housing or whatever it may be.
100%.
It's huge.
100%. I mean, we all got to think about that every day when we're out here working. Yes, we're all trying to make money. Yes, I will say that I'm a capitalist. Yes, I say that I want to be an employer of people, but we're helping. I have to remember this, and I told my CEO this the other day. What we do every day, our employees don't worry 1 minute. Their paycheck is going to be sitting there every other Friday. There's no question. When are my paychecks coming today? It is there. We're paying them a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. That was a UPS slogan. And that is a true statement. We don't expect you to do anything more than what the salary is given to you, and we will pay that. We will also give you incentives, and we will also give you 401k and also give you insurance. At the same time, we give you a safe, fun place to come to work. And that's our job. And then some of them have now went on to work somewhere else, or they have now went on to start their own companies. And I hope they just keep doing the same thing as we, treat them fairly. And I think that's important. At the same time, yes, I'm not afraid to say that, I'm an entrepreneur. I want to make as much money as I possibly can. I lean into that, and I'm pretty respectful when I say that. But again, I'm going to speak about a woman for a minute. Is that some women we don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about money enough. You got men go smoke cigars and chill out and drink and hang out and say, hey, I made $400,000 yesterday on a flip or something, right? A woman tends to not say that because it feels weird saying that. And I wanted to I've always said this, that I want to be a platform for women to feel comfortable saying, and it's okay to say, I want to make as much money as I possibly can for my family and to give to others. It's not just making as much money as you can for yourself to go get everything that you personally want, but it's for your family. I think we're super selfish if we don't work toward our best version, make as much money as we possibly can for our families. Of course, we give to our church. Of course, we give to our families. But you got to start with making money. And if you're capable of making money, I think you should do it.
Yep.
Not everybody's capable, but I think if you're capable of doing it, I think you should maximize that specific element of life.
Right. Yeah, God's giving you this talent, right? And there's a reason He's giving you this talent to go out and make as much money as you can to go then help as many people as you can. That's the hope, right?
Exactly.
That's great. So talk to us about PIC Fund and also Rehab Wallet, and feel free to talk about any other ventures that you have. But we'd love to hear about those companies and what you do.
Yeah, the the mortgage business, again, as I kind of explained my journey, I stayed in that mortgage company. I was a broker from 2000, about 2009. The crash came, as everybody knows. I then got out of that. I sold that mortgage company to a large company. And then I kind of just stayed in our personal real estate for about, 10 years. Okay. And then it was time for me to start lending again. I just thought, I wasn't kind of teeing up this business, but I was doing some personal lending. And so I was getting some phone calls. Hey, Kelli, you got 200, to be a private lender. So I was personally lending for a while, and I was having more calls than I had money, because in 2018, I had probably about 400 units around Charleston, the tri-counties of Charleston, and in Greenville. I'm from Easley, Pickens area, so I had some property in Greenville. And so I had those for about 18 years. So I started selling off my personal side of real estate. Right. And so, and it took a while to sell it all off, but then now I had 2 buckets of money. And one bucket of money I started private lending out of, and the other bucket of money I went and started investing passively with syndicators that I know and trusted, right? And so I wanted to be this passive investor instead of this performing self-management company that I had been for almost 20 years. And so my bucket of money that I was private lending out of, I put it on the street quick. And it was a few $1 million, but it don't take long. Think about it. In Charleston, if you got $400,000 loans, that's 5 of them you done blew through. Right. 2 million. So, right. So it went like that. So I was walking, stay with me a minute, but I was investing with my other bucket of money with some syndicators that I became super close to. And Danny and I, before we started having a bunch of babies, we walked almost every week, maybe 2 days a week. And we'd walk and talk like me and you are talking now. Just, how was your week? How are things? We used to call it our dream walk. And on that dream walk, he happened to say, how's that private lending side of your business going? And I said, Danny, I have more calls coming in than I got money. And in that walk, I can remember the tree where we were standing, we came up with the idea that he could raise the capital. I can go out and lend it out. So Rehab Wallet was formed in June of 2020, in the middle of COVID, on a walk, that he had the experience of investor relation and raising capital, and I had the mortgage experience. So we started in June of 2020 with one loan, $153,000. We did one loan in June. In July, we did 4 loans. And so we didn't start raising capital until we knew we had a proof of concept. I also always like to say that I think you should date your partners before you get married to them, right? Mm-hmm. So we were kind of dating before I started bringing in all this capital from friends and family and putting my last name on the street. I had, almost 30-year career. Well, back then it was about 25 years of a career that I needed it to make sure I'm married to the right people. So we used our own capital at the beginning to the end of 2020. The start of 2021, we started raising our first capital. And like I've said, we've raised over $200 million. They've done an amazing job raising capital. And we've done a great job on this side. My job was to build the team out, build all the SOPs, and start a lending company, of which I had already done in 2000. It's a little different. It's bigger. It's got a servicing aspect on it. We're having to collect payments and all those back-end asset management stuff now. But ultimately, I'm back to playing ball. I'm back to building a team, working well with others, having defeats one day, having to lay some up the next day and go back to work. I've ultimately figured out that's what I'm good at. It just happens to be, if I was selling this pen or whatever widget it is, I just happen to be an entrepreneur that likes to build a business, and it happens to be lending. It's not like I'm a bank, a lender of all lenders. We just happen to be really good at building company and keeping it profitable.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it sounds like you kind of got started and then said, hey, there's something here. and then
Exactly right.
just kept growing and scaling. And
Exactly. You can't, you got to make sure you're with the right people first. You got to make sure it's got some legs, and is this business scalable for it to be worth my time? Remember, I'm probably in the later third quarter, top of the fourth quarter of my business journey, right? And I didn't want of my career, so I didn't want to start something out else unless it was going to be big enough to keep me interested, to be worth this push that it takes to start up a company. Yeah. Those first 3 or 4 years of a company are day and night.
What would you, if you're thinking about basketball, what would you think about the startup period of starting a company versus what is that compared to in your basketball life?
Well, I would take it to these days of being a coach. Everybody leaves, everybody jumps in the portal, and you got a whole new team coming in
every year.
And it's happening every year. Those coaches have a startup every single year now.
That's a grind, right?
It's a grind. I mean, College of Charleston this year, women went to the NCAA tournament, first time in history. So what happens? Pittsburgh comes and grabs our coach. Everybody leaves and now jumped in the portal. Okay? Men's coach, same thing. When somebody comes and grabs him, everybody leaves, jumps in the portal. So both new coaches have been hired. They have I won't know one person. have season tickets ever since I've graduated. Try not to miss any home game of men or women. I won't know a soul next year. I feel like that's what it is. It's a startup. It's a startup some of these coaches have to be in. But as a player, maybe it's you lose your seniors and you're a freshman, or you lose your seniors and you're a sophomore, and you're the captain of the team now. Maybe you just start up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you have to double down to get to where you want, right?
Exactly.
Talk a bit about Rehab. You mentioned Rehab Wallet versus Pick Fund.
Okay.
I'd love to talk a bit about the difference in the two.
So Rehab Wallet is our branding name. It's not an entity. It is a brand that's out there on all you see it on the page here. You see it when my people are out and about at real estate investment groups. It's the branding piece that's on all of the swag. So Rehab Wallet is a short-term fix and flip lender. Okay. The fund is called Passive Investing Club Fund, Pick Fund 1. Okay, so that is our debt fund. We raise money in a debt fund inside the fund called Pick Fund. We pay our investors 6, 8, 10% according to how much money you put in the fund. We arbitrage that into the Rehab Wallet side, the borrower side of things, and I lend the money out to fix and flippers, 13, 14%, a couple points. So I'm arbitraging that capital every day, and that is my business plan. So Rehab Wallet is the borrower side. It's actually just a branding name. And Pick Fund is obviously all the docs, all the titles, everything is inside that. Our capital stack over here on how investors get paid. Our investors get paid first and foremost before I use any money over here on the Rehab Wallet side to go pay employees or expenses. So our investors get paid first, and then we go over here, what's left, I go run Rehab Wallet out of, right? And so we're almost hitting 6 years in June. Never missed a distribution. We pay out monthly distributions. We also, inside our fund, we also allow a liquidity option. So if you needed your money out for, let's go back to a daughter, if you're, and your daughters get married or something, I don't know, I'm making this up, and you needed $40,000 out to go pay for a wedding, or $20,000 or $120,000 these days, you can get your money out of our fund. You just send an email out, and in 90 days, hopefully before that, we'll get your money out. So we have a liquidity option. We also allow you to keep your money in and let it compound. So you don't have to take your distributions. So somebody that has $100,000 out in the fund makes 8%. 8% is $667 a month. So in month 2, your money is compounding at 100,667.
That's a big benefit.
Play around on NerdWallet one time on a compound interest calculator, and it gets fun watching a monthly. Put in there monthly. When it asks you, do you compound monthly or annually? Put in monthly and watch that thing grow. It is crazy. Compound interest is something else.
What type of people invest in your fund?
On the PIC fund side, we ask and need accredited investors. So that's somebody, you can look it up, somebody with $1 million net worth, not including your home, or you have an income of $250,000. So it's somebody that is sophisticated, is somebody that should understand that we don't want your last dollar going into this fund. It is a safe fund. We expect it to be super conservative, but anything can happen. But you should be sophisticated enough to understand what's going on inside the fund. So that's an accredited investor. We also have an option for not accredited investors as well. The rates aren't quite as high. And the minimum requirement there is only $1,000. Over here on the accredited side, it's $25,000.
Okay. But these people they're doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, corporate employees.
It is a lot of a W-2 person that might just don't have the time. You talked about doctors and lawyers. They don't have the time to go over here. So it's high net worth individuals typically that don't have the time to go out here and maybe make money on their own, don't want to, not even interested in it, but respects the experience of the operator and, just wants income. I was just talking to an investor last week, and he has about 1.2 with us, 1.2 million. And he and his wife travel on that $10,000 a month. And that's what he wants. He believes in us. I know him. He's very inquisitive. He's very, involved, meaning we send out monthly information out to everybody so they can know what's going on, updates on what's going on with PIC Fund, so that they know if they got any questions. They have my cell phone, Danny and Dan's cell phone, all the partners' cell phone. They're willing to do and ask us any questions that they want. That they're banking on us, but also do they realize that anything can happen. We were talking about this yesterday, that we can only control the controllables, right? There's markets that are uncontrollable, but my job is to build this team, be a good CEO of this team, manage this team, try to be as proactive as possible instead of reactive. And I think 2008, 9, and 10 helped me a lot. It whooped me in a lot of ways because of the real estate crash. I was in the mortgage business. I also had real estate of my own. But at the same time, it was the best learning curve and thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to purpose and your bigger why. Tell me, at this stage, what drives you to show up day in and day out and grow this company, protect your investors' money? I'm guessing it's not money. I'm guessing it's something else, but tell us about that.
Well, I used to just put my finger on the why, like of what was my why. And it was long and hard to figure that out for whatever reason. I don't have children. So, a lot of people use legacy and all those words because they have children, right? I of course help my mom I help my mom a lot. That's a big deal in my life. But other than that, my sister and brother are well taken care of. So what is my why? And I narrowed it down a long time ago to, it's changed a little bit, but maybe it's just added on. But I had it as, I just wanted to be the best version of Kelli Garrett. I don't want to compare myself to somebody else. That's the thief of joy. I just want to be the best version of Kelli Garrett. Let's go back to basketball for a minute. I played at a mid-major school. I've scored more points there than any woman's ever scored with only 2 years of a three-point line. So I think I played at my best top-level version at the College of Charleston. My jersey hangs in the rafters when I go there. I know I've left it all there, right? But what could I have done at the University of South Carolina? What could I have done there? I don't know, but I know my best version must possibly had been a bigger school, because I've tipped it out at mid-major. So I wanted, but I don't know that, and I will never know that. So I wanted to go and now take into business. And I wanted to play on a South Carolina Colonial Life floor. And that's what I'm doing now. It's a freaking huge company with a lot of like I said, a big cross to bear. Not that many employees. It's only 21 employees, but it's big enough where I feel like I'll be capping out my best version at some point, right? So finding my best version is the biggest thing. And I think the word not finished has come up a lot in the last probably year, is that I'm almost 60 years old, but I'm not finished. A lot of people ask me, when are you going to retire? Because all my friends are retiring, right? They're all, coming out, retiring and so forth. I'm just not finished. There's something else out there, and I just got to see that through, because I have a lot of energy, thankfully. So I kind of just used those two catchphrases for me. In my gym downstairs, it's highlighted. It's big neon sign. It says not finished. And I'm just not. I think I'll know when I am. But right now, I'm not finished with helping people, developing people, and finding my best version. I haven't found it just yet.
And imagine that best version probably changes week to week, right? As you think about where can you go, what can you achieve, and what is best, right? Yep.
I know I have become very patient. In my early career, I was not patient. I've learned to sit in on a decision and marinate on a decision and not be in a big hurry, right? I'm healthy. I'm living a great life. I've still got things I want to work on, but this life that we're in is just a journey, and why hurry it? For what? I mean, the finish line, there is no finish line. There's not like, okay, I'm going to get to 60 and then I'm going to retire. I'm going to get to 65 and then I'm going to retire. I don't like that. I think we'll just know when it's time to kind of crank down a little bit, but at the same time, maybe I just don't ever crank down. Maybe I just move positions from bringing somebody in as a CEO and I sit on the board.
Right.
To still be involved. I think we got to have a purpose. You have a great name for your podcast. I think every day you got to wake up and have a purpose, because what happens when your kids are all grown, they're out of the house? What is your, the purpose, our life's purpose? Well, we got to find that.
Yep. That's great. So, talk about winning, and I imagine winning looks different now than it did 10 years ago. Can you talk a bit about that? Like, if you think about winning today versus what you thought about winning 10 years ago, what that means?
As I mentioned, I felt like I was in a big hurry, and the reason is because I had studied probably too much of compound interest, and I knew that on my come up, that's what I call it, on the come up, I needed to get in a hurry. Let's just talk about money for a minute, not just about life, but about money. I needed to get a ball big enough to let compounding work for itself. I was reading The Psychology of Money, and I might blow this, but Warren Buffett, after the age of 60, he was worth like $4 billion or something like that at the age of 60. I don't remember the number, but after 60, it 4x or 18x. I can't remember. So after the age of 60 is when he blew up. After the age of 60.
That's wild.
Because he had to let 4 billion or whatever that number was compound into 8 billion, and then 8 billion compounds into 16, 32 to 64. It's like, we got to let these doubles happen. So I think at the beginning, I was in that race to make my ball big enough to compound. I also, at the same time, needed to do the same thing in my personal life, in my physique, and all the other things as well. So I think the difference 10 years and today is that 10 years ago, I was trying to make money, and now I'm trying to lose it. on the money side. I think that, it takes work to make money and it takes brains to keep it. And so I want to be a good steward and not I've made some super risky moves early 10 years ago, or probably 15 years ago, to get where I'm at. Lost some, won some. But I wouldn't do that now. I would absolutely, there's no need to do that now. There's just absolutely, we talk about money. Now talk about your relationship. It's always a working, I've just now got good at it. I've been super selfish and shallow probably. I married Sunshine Garrett, my wife, and I've been together now 25 years. And probably the last 5 years is when I kind of got good at it. But she's been super supportive with me along the way, and patient. And so I hadn't been just great at that, but I think we finally got there. Body wise, I'm trying to just keep it together at this point. 2 hip replacements, back, so I'm still just trying to keep all that together at some point. But we still got to work out. We still got to do the things to keep ourselves not just in shape, because it's not about what people see about me. It's how I feel about myself.
Right.
So that then I could go out and do the things I need to do confidently in my business and in my relationship.
That's great. I just started working out recently, and I'm so sore. I asked my trainer this morning, I said, I'm so sore. How long is this going to last? He's like, that's the way it should be. So just keep going. What mine says.
Just exactly. If you're not sore, if it doesn't hurt, you're not getting anywhere, is what he says.
But health's important. I mean, my goal is, hey, when I'm 60, 70, 80, I want to be nimble and strong and
absolutely
moving around.
Absolutely. I think it's important for us all.
All right. Well, let's go into the rapid fire closing here. And I have a few questions. Just wanted to rapid fire through and hear what you think. So, what's the best deal that you've ever done?
The best deal that I've ever done, I would the best thing that I've ever done is go to events around town, host events around town, have relationships, because I had to go meet Danny. I had to go meet my partner today. Mm-hmm. This business that I have now is the biggest deal that I've ever done. And I've been in the business now, honestly, almost 30 years. And so I've made $500,000 on a fourplex that I bought, kept for a year and flipped it. Okay, that's something. But that's a one and done. I've cut my apple tree down on that flip, is what I call it. When we can have cash flow coming in consistently, we're not cutting the apple tree down. It's making apples every month. And that's what's important. Somebody asked me today, what's your goal with Rehab Wallet? Are you going to sell it? Nope, not selling it. Cash flow's too good. Now, the other 2 legs of our business is we have a long-term lending arm called Consistent Capital. At some point, that might be sellable. It's more institutional. The Aspire Finance is equipment financing. We will sell that at some point. But the best deal I ever done was literally us getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, going to a breakfast meeting every other Friday, meeting somebody, going to walk with him every other week, befriended him, saying yes to him when he would call and say, hey, you want to go somewhere? So he was calling me and I was calling him. We were going, hanging out, meeting him, and sitting up underneath that tree that day. That's the Rehab Wallet's the best deal I've ever done.
I love how you put that, though. It's Rehab Wallet, of course, the best deal you ever done, but the best deal really is the start, that relationship, right? And that really you getting out of bed at 6 a.m. that morning to go meet for the first time.
Yeah, I think you have to be open to, again, let's go back to sports. I think, I was a decent ball handler and a decent shooter. But there's other girls out there that were amazing shot blockers and rebounders, and everybody's got to know their role. Danny is 25 years younger than I am. Danny is so smart and I barely got into college, Charleston. Danny is brilliant. Danny thinks so big, but I am a real good operator and I can get some stuff done, right? I knew how to build a business and he leaned on me for experience. And I think I leaned on him to help me open my mind up to something bigger. And together, I think you got to be open to other people. I'm not looking for somebody like Kelli that's a, old jock and an, mid-major business person. I needed to look for somebody that's so completely different than I am. But I wouldn't have had it had I not got up again at those early mornings to go to those breakfasts, to meet people and create relationships and be like, hey, I'm gonna go sit by him. And then when Danny's thinking the same thing, I need to go sit by her. It's very interesting in life if you just say yes to a podcast. I mean, Robert, I don't know you that well, but I said yes to your podcast. I studied a little bit about you. I'll say yes to your podcast. You don't know what this will turn into. You don't know.
That's powerful.
You just got to let life happen and let God and whatever you believe in, just let it happen. It's important.
That's powerful. All right. 2 more questions here. What separates the top 1% of investors?
Speed.
Okay.
Speed
I like
to the market. Speed.
I like it. Speed. That's good. All right. Last question here. What's one belief that you have that most people disagree with?
Wow. What's one belief that people disagree with?
Sorry, I left the hardest one for last.
You did. I'm not sure that a lot of people don't believe in something bigger and better than us in God. But I didn't realize how many people don't really believe. Mm-hmm. And I have no idea how to think without that. Like, what's next, or how can I shoulder all this capital? How can I be the best version of myself? How can I, this redneck from Pickens, South Carolina, be in charge of this company? How can, without something a little bit bigger or a lot bigger and a lot stronger than I am personally? So maybe that's it. Maybe it's just that's kind of deep. Or I think that I was thinking about something because we have a large real estate investment group that we have subgroups, and I'm teaching a business mastery class the last Thursday of the month. And so I was just thinking about that, the name of so the marketers could put all that out. And I put that, what happens if all we had to do was be consistent? What happens if that's the answer to success? And just doing the same thing with something big enough to scale now, something big enough to scale, but you stay at something year after year after year after year after year after year. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. Lots of frustration, lots of days you want to quit, lots of days of like, God, I should just go and work back for UPS and just take a paycheck. How in the world am I going to pay for payroll early on? All the things that come up, but you stay at it and you stay at consistent. What happens if that's all there is? I think that a lot of people believe it's a lot harder, or they make it complicated. And it's just hard work, staying consistent, but you got to do it year after year after year after year. You got to go to those breakfast meetings. You got to go to those subgroups. You got to go be on these podcasts. You got to do all these things, and you got to do it over and over and over again, year after year after year after year. And I'm not sure everybody believes that. I think they think that it's easier and it's one and done, and it is not.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Show up every day, and you'll be successful.
That's it.
All right. This has been awesome. Yes. We could keep talking probably for another 2 or 3 hours, but we're going to conclude it here. If someone wanted to reach out to you, how do they contact you?
Well, for Pick Fund to be an investor or a borrower, you can go to rehabwallet.com, and there is tab there. for invest or borrow. If you want to email me, it is Kelli, Kelli, at rehabwallet.com. Kelli Garrett with an I. You catch me on Facebook, message me. I think that's how we contacted. You connected with me. Connect there. And I look forward to talking to anybody and trying to help somebody. At the same time, if anybody needs a loan or wants an investment vehicle, we're there too.
That's great. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Kelli. A lot of value in this one. Like I said, I'd love to keep talking for a lot longer, but we'll conclude it here. And for everyone's listening, if you got something out of this episode, please share it with someone who's building in real estate, looking to grow. And as always, this is the Purpose-Driven Investor, where we focus on building wealth that actually means something. We'll see you on the next episode.